This is the third session of the post-PMP training, which we had in February. Um, with these sessions, we wanted, we shared few stuff. So in the first two sessions, we shared some practice questions or mock questions, very similar to the ones you might get at the PMP exam. We might see some few questions today in today's session, but actually what I would like to focus on in this session is really like few tips. Let's put straightforward, okay? Many people would like to take the PMP exam, okay? Especially after we took this free, we had this free training. Then, during March, people were kind of busy with different, for different reasons, like, Ramadan, then Eid, and stuff like that. Then, almost like in the middle of April, people resumed their preparations. So now they would like to get the PMP certification like during April, May. So far, like these are the timelines we're talking about, or they're talking about. Just, few people mentioned June, but most people mentioned end of April, early May. But the question which I had, like, in the last few days is how much time do I need to prepare for my PMP exam? Some people told me they don't have time. Some people said that they're really like, they have a tight schedule because of their work and responsibilities, and they don't really have that time, much time. Now, please, I'm going to share with you today three plans, okay? And I think these three plans can be effective, can be helpful, to those who really, don't have much time. Of course, we're going to about the efficiency. We're going to talk about the efficiency of each plan, okay? But we try really to help everyone. Some people have, some people told me like, "Hey, Ahmed, if I wouldn't take the exam like in 1 week from now, I will never have time for it, because they know they're going to be busy. They know they're going to be traveling. Summer is coming, vacation, then job duties, etc. So really, some people have given me some tight, timeline. So I'm going to try to help everyone. All right. Now, let's start with the first type of people who say, you know what, I have just 1 week to prepare for my PMP exam. Okay, so give me a 1 week preparation plan. So here's a 1 week preparation plan. Now, of course, we assume that 1 week has got 7 days. All right, so it can be Monday through Sunday. All right, but now I'm going to give you this plan, and I know it works. Like, for example, this week and last week, I've had people who passed their PMP exam with just 1 week preparation plan. Now, how can you apply this 1 week preparation plan? Okay. And then, guys, we can have a question and answers part. So I would allow the microphones for questions and answers. Now, let's suppose you have completed the training some time ago. It could be a month ago, it could be 3 months ago. And like you really, or you can still remember, many stuff which you had the training, and during the training you took notes. Now that's really really important. Now, in case you have just 1 week, right? So the first thing you need to do is you need to review your own notes from the training. That's probably the most important thing, and that's something you definitely need to start with, okay? Because your notes are like your own resume, your own summary, okay? Okay, the training was for about 35 hours, but your notes, those are your own notes with your own handwriting. You will definitely understand them. So within 1 day, okay, I've put 1 day. So 1 day can go, anywhere from 6 hours to probably 12 hours, okay? So reviewing your own notes will refresh your memory and will make you remember much, much better, okay? But first, you really need to review your own notes, which are in the form of a resume. Then that you will do it in 1 day. Whatever 1 day is, that you will do it in 1 day. Then the next day, what you do is you definitely will have to memorize the tips and tricks which we had at the end of each chapter and then at the end of the entire training in chapter 12, and memorize the elimination techniques. I've had people trained by us who didn't have much time to prepare for the exam, and I gave them these tips. Okay, I told them memorize the tips and tricks and the elimination techniques. And this memorization of these tips and of the memorization of the tips and tricks and elimination techniques will help you, at about like 35% up to 50% of the exam. And they did that and they passed. So that's something you definitely have to do, okay? And then the third tip, which is I call the magical tip, okay? Here's the third tip. Take full exams, our full exams, number 19, 20, and 21. Why? Because these three exams in particular, but not the only ones actually, but these three exams in particular, they have very, very, very similar questions to what you will get in the real exam. Now, usually I don't want people to rely only on mock exams which have very similar questions to the real exam. But here we're talking about 1 week preparation plan. You don't have enough time, so you definitely need to prepare with exams and questions, mock exams and questions which are very similar to the real question to the questions in the real exam. And for example, today I've had few people who took the exam and they passed just today, okay? And I remember one of them didn't have much time, and I think he will post about his certification maybe tomorrow when he gets it. Okay, he told me that he doesn't have much time, so I gave him this plan. And today, after he finished the exam, he told me that in the exam he had tens of questions very similar to the ones we've had in these exams number 19, 20, 21. And here, what we recommend is you spend 1 day per exam. Now, either you can take the exam in real conditions, real exam conditions, or you can simply just open the exam, look at the questions, read the answer, the explanation, and try to understand PMI's mindset and try to somehow remember the question. Okay? Try to somehow remember the question. All right? This will help you. But again, it's not so common that people don't have much time. It's not so common that people don't have much time, or people are this tight with their preparation for the exam. Usually it's not the case. Usually people have more time, okay? But apply this plan only in case you really don't have time, much time. But remember, here the risk is kinda not so low here. Okay. Personally, I would put the success rate of people who have just 1 week preparation at about 50 to 60%. Okay. So people who come to me and say, I have just 1 week to prepare. Okay. Just 1 week. Okay. They take a whole week off. Well, I tell them, how much do you remember from the training? If they tell me they remember everything because they're practicing whatever we have learned and they went through the course videos over and over again, and I tell them, okay, so this 1 week preparation plan will guarantee you at least 80% success rate. But if they tell me, you know what, since we had the training, we didn't look at it again, we didn't rewatch any videos, we didn't look at the training material again, but we really have to take the exam next week, we really don't have any time left. So I give them this 1 week preparation plan and I tell them, all right, you can do it on your own cost. But remember, success rate for this plan is 50 to 60% because you did not rewatch the course videos and didn't look at the training material before this 1 week preparation plan. So this is what you can do in case you have just 1 week to prepare because you have some constraints. This will work. If you take it seriously, if you give it your best shot, it will work. For me, let me tell you my secret. Let me tell you my secret. For me, 50% means I will pass. Now, of course, the pass rate in the exam is, I'm not talking about the pass rate in the exam. Pass rate in the exam is around 65%. No, because I'm always an optimistic person. For any subject, if somebody tells me it's 50% chance, for me, then I say it's 50% plus a lot of belief, then it will be okay. It will be 100%. For me, always 50% with a lot of belief is a pass. Okay? So this is the 1 week preparation plan. Now, let's move on to those who have a 2 week preparation plan. Now, these ones have higher chances, okay? Because 2 week preparation plans means the following. The first week, you will rewatch the full course videos and you will take your own notes. Guys, you probably remember from the training, you probably remember from the tips and tricks, you probably remember from chapter 12, you probably remember from the different sessions we had. I always talk about the personal notes. Yes, because I took the PMP exam myself, because I saw so many people take the PMP exam. Thousands of people. I witnessed thousands of people taking the PMP exam. And I can tell you, your own notes are really one of your 4 pillars to passing the exam and getting your certification. Absolutely. So if you have a 2 week preparation plan, I can tell you, you're confident. Here, your pass rate is going to be around 80%. Okay? I mean, the chance you will pass, the chance you will pass is going to be about 80%, because the first week you will spend rewatching the full course videos and taking your own notes. And then in the second week, the first 1 day, you will spend memorizing the tips and tricks and elimination techniques. Well, this is a must. This is absolutely a must to memorize the tips and tricks and elimination techniques. Absolutely. Come on, guys. This is 35% to 50% of your chance to pass. Absolutely. Now, our tips and tricks and our elimination techniques. Of course, if there are any other good tips and tricks and elimination techniques out there or online, okay, or from other trainers, of course, they're going to help, and feel free to share them with the community, okay? But memorizing. Now, some people ask me, why do you say memorizing? Why don't you say understanding? The tips and tricks and the elimination techniques must be memorized. Once they are memorized and practiced, then they are understood. Then another day, one more day, you will take a full exam. Now, of course, you can take full exam number one, whatever full exam you want, from our exam simulator or from our internal exam platform. We have two, or three sources for exam. We have the education platform, the exam simulator, and the internal offline drive. We have tens and tens of exams. Here you can take any exam you want, a full mock exam, and review your mistakes. Now, that's very important. You need to review your mistakes, okay? Because when you take a full exam, how is it going to help you, serve you? I don't want you to memorize questions. Now, memorizing questions from the mock exams, that's in case you have just 1 week preparation plan and you can memorize the questions in our exams 19, 20, 21. Because for sure you will get tens of questions in the PMP exam very similar to them, to those questions in those exams. But here, in this case, you can take any of our full exams, and they will help you understand PMI's mindset. Now, because you have time here, so you will focus on understanding PMI's mindset to refresh what you have learned during the training and make sure you review your mistakes. You can do this in 1 day. In another day, you will take another full exam. Take it in real conditions. Now, here in the second week, you will try to practice these exams in real conditions. Now, for the 1 week preparation plan, you don't have to. You don't have to try to practice in real conditions. You don't have time. What's important is you read the questions and the answers and try to remember as much as you can, because you have just 1 week preparation. Okay, but here for a 2 week preparation plan, you have time. So you definitely wanna try. You wanna understand PMI's mindset and review your mistakes. Okay, that's what you do. In another day, and then in another day, make sure you take another full exam number 3. Of course, you have to diversify the exams, because some exams are more waterfall than hybrid, some others are more waterfall than agile, others are more agile than waterfall, some exams with more pictures, with less, others with less pictures, some exams with more drag and drop, others with less drag and drop, etc. Okay, so then you take another full exam. Again, try to take it in real conditions through our simulator. All right, try to understand PMI's mindset and review your mistakes. Okay. Now, always remember, the day before the exam, you should not take any exams. The day before your PMP exam, it should be a relaxing day. I call it the relaxing day. I call it really like the day, that's the day when you build your own confidence. Now, many people don't think this is important. Well, I think it is because, thousands of our students have taken the PMP exam, and I can tell many people, they leave or they have what we call the last minute preparation. No last minute preparation is recommended. Even in the 1 week plan, which we shared in this first slide, even in this 1 week preparation plan, okay, the day before your exam, now let's suppose your exam will be on a Monday. So the Sunday before your exam day, you shouldn't be like preparing anything. It should be the day for building confidence. That day should be for building confidence. You will build your own confidence. You will prepare yourself mentally, and you should really manage your stress. All right? That's what you need to do. Sleep early, eat a little bit, drink a little bit, okay, really like sleep enough, prepare yourself mentally. Yeah, that's what you need to do the day before the exam. No last minute preparation. Probably look at some of your notes, just review your formulas, the process table maybe, etc. We'll talk about that later, but don't do any exams the day before your exam. Don't take any mock exams. No mini quiz, no mini exam, no quizzes, no chapter test, no full mock exams. No, you should not, really, you should not. You should just probably review a little bit your notes, maybe, whatever you have, written in your notes from the tips and tricks, the elimination techniques, or any notes from the training, okay? Now, this is a very efficient 2 week preparation plan. Like, really, really efficient. This should be enough, of course. You should take it really seriously, all right? If you apply this fully, the chance, of you getting your PMP certification is definitely over 80%. Absolutely. I've had many people follow this plan, and I think over 80% passed. Okay, really, over 80% passed. Okay, over 80% of them. All right, this is a really good plan, really good plan. I'm so confident with this plan. Okay, now, in case actually you have much more luxury, in case you have much more luxury, and this is actually the plan which we shared, during our free training, during February. All right. Now, this is probably the most common plan, and this is what most people ask for. You know why? Because this plan is less stressful. This plan here is less stressful. Now, with a 3 week preparation plan, and here's the catch, okay? I'm going to give you a catch. Now, what I recommend is in the first week, you rewatch the full course videos and you take notes. Now, and then I tell them in the second week, you rewatch each chapter again, and then you take the chapter quiz, which are 25 questions, well selected, well chosen, okay, to really, help you understand the different tools, techniques, practices, and the PMI's mindset. However, what I noticed, and I did this on purpose. You see, when I wrote here, rewatch full course videos and take notes, then rewatch each chapter and take chapter quiz. You know what most people did? And this is what, I prepared this plan on purpose this way to make people do this, the following, which is people don't exactly follow step one and step two exactly, the way I wrote them. People, what they do is, they take step number two, okay, like rewatching each chapter and taking chapter quizzes, okay, along with taking notes, and they execute it during 2 weeks. So they take bullet number two. So they start rewatching the videos of the course. They rewatch chapter one. They take notes, and then they take chapter quiz. They do this in 1 day. Then second day, they rewatch chapter two. They take notes and they take the chapter quiz. And then they rewatch chapter three, take notes, and take the quiz. So they do this over 14-day period, over 2 weeks. And that's perfect. That's perfect. Mixing bullet number one with bullet number two and doing that over 2 week period, that's absolutely perfect. Do you know why? I will tell you why, guys. I will tell you why. It's okay. I will tell you why. Okay? People work. People work. People have jobs. People have families. People have hobbies. Okay? And people cannot afford having just 3 weeks off, to prepare for, the PMP exam. So actually mixing bullet one and two together over a 2 week period, that's perfect. You know why? I will tell you why. Because rewatching each chapter, taking their own notes and taking the chapter quiz, that goes for about 4 to 5 hours. 4 to 5 hours, to rewatch each chapter, taking notes and taking the quiz of 25 questions. Okay, so 4 to 5 hours every day, later in the evening, after they finish work, and then they have the weekend. Then they have the weekend, and they can dedicate the weekend. Yes, it's no problem to dedicate 2 weekends for the PMP. It's no problem for them. They can sacrifice that, even if they have families, even if they have hobbies. Okay, they can sacrifice 2 weekends. People usually do that. So that's why people are, more encouraged actually, and more willing to rewatch, each chapter, take their own notes and take the chapter quiz, and do that for the entire 12 chapters, over a 2 week period, including 2 weekends. And that's perfect. That's actually perfect. And even people who cannot afford 4 to 5 hours, during the week, during the work week, okay, they usually do a 2 hour preparation, or 2 hour, Monday to Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday, they spend, probably on average 6 to 8 hours a day. It's an important certification. People want to get it. Okay, people know that the exam, requires, a decent level of attention, so they take it seriously and they give it a good shot. So actually, mixing bullet one and two over a 2 week period, that sounds like a great plan, and I encourage that. I encourage that so much. And just trust me, guys. If you just follow what I tell you, you will make it in 3 weeks. Okay, you will absolutely make it in 3 weeks. Okay. All right. And then once you finish this, in the first 2 weeks, like you're watching, the entire course chapter by chapter, taking the notes for each chapter. Okay. Guys, let me tell you a secret about taking the notes. Let me tell you a secret about taking the notes. Okay. Now, taking the notes does not mean you will rewrite our course slides. No, you will not rewrite our course slides. Taking the notes means that you will write all those explanations which are not written on the slides. All those side talks I make, or I say, your own way of understanding things, okay? You write it in the language you prefer. Like you can write it in French, in German, in Arabic, in Spanish, in Italian, in English, whatever language you feel confident with, okay? Maybe, your own notes will be about how each technique can be used in which part of the project, okay? Maybe your own notes are a huge, big drawing, a huge map of the entire project, and where each technique, each process, each tool would fit into that project. It is fine. Whatever shape, whatever form you create, it's fine as long as you write it with your own hands so you can understand it really, really well. All right? So, this is how you should take your own notes. Your own notes should help you know each tool, each practice, each process, when and how to apply it. All right? All right. Then, of course, in the remaining week, the third week, we recommend definitely taking, our first mini exam, okay, because it contains some good questions. And again, you will definitely review your mistakes, okay? Then, because that mini exam is 60 questions. So, when taking a mini exam of 60 questions, it will help you adapt to the length or to the time required for 60 questions. Because in your real PMP exam, you will have 180 questions, divided, or split into 3 batches, each batch of 60 questions. So we recommend training yourself on the time required for answering 60 questions. All right. Then you will take, a second mini exam, 60 questions, and you review your mistakes. And then you take the third mini exam of 60 questions and you review your mistakes. Always make sure that you train yourself, for not exceeding or not exceeding 1 hour and 15 minutes per 60 questions. That's a must. Okay. And make sure you try to understand PMI's mindset in answering those questions and you review your own mistakes. Okay. So you do that. Three mini exams, that's a full exam. And then you take one full exam with real exam conditions in our exam simulator. Okay. So you try to, watch your clock, make sure you answer all the questions before the time is up. All right. So you can do that in 1 day. Then you review your mistakes. Make sure you always review your mistakes. Okay. It's important to understand which questions you answered wrongly. Why did you answer them wrongly? And make sure that you try to make sure you avoid that. Um, so they won't happen again. All right. And then finally, you take another full exam. Now, why didn't we stress on taking three full exams? Because actually, the three mini exams they count for an entire full exam plus two full exams. With real exam conditions. That's your 3 week preparation plan. Now, I think a 3 week preparation plan is ideal. Now, let me answer now a question, a different question. There is a question, I've had it yesterday, I think, from one lady. She told me, Ahmed, I have 2 months to prepare for my PMP exam. Is that enough? My answer is, that's too much. That's too much. 2 months preparing for your PMP exam, that's too much. Yes. Now, let me tell you why I think that's too much. Now, please hear me out. Hear me out, okay? That's too much because actually you have everything you need in our course material. You have everything. Our course material contains all the techniques which you will get or you will see in your real exam. Yesterday one guy took the PMP exam and he passed, and he told me, "Hey, Ahmed, uh, I've had one a drag and drop question, and it was about the types of software testing." Okay, and he told me, "We never had that with you. We didn't see with you like the different types for software testing." And it was a question about software testing. He said it was easy for me. Now he's talking. He said that it was easy for me because he said I have an IT background, but for some others, if they get it, they might not be able to answer it. Well, actually, it's not quite correct that we never mentioned types of software testing, because actually, when I explained in chapter 4 the way how work is being conducted during the sprint, most of the time I used software development projects as examples, and I did many times explain difference of regression testing, entire release test, integration testing, user acceptance testing, etc., etc., etc. So I did that. Okay, but anyway, it was a good remark from him, and definitely, I will stress on that also, in the upcoming training. Okay, so actually, uh, I think 2 months is too long. If you will dedicate 2 months or 3 months or 1.5 months to your preparations, I think that's too long. Apply this 3 week preparation plan and it will be perfect and enough. This 3 week preparation plan, it requires on average 3 to 4 hours a day. 3 to 4 hours a day. Okay, that's it. Yes, you can dedicate 3 to 4 hours a day, over a 3 week period, and that's it. Maybe a little more on the weekends, and that's it. Really, that's it. It's okay. You can sacrifice 3 weeks. You can sacrifice 3 weeks, like no going out, not meeting friends, over dinner. Just 3 weeks. You get this internationally recognized certification, and that's it. Then you can enjoy it. You can then enjoy all the benefits of the PMP certification. Okay. Now, please, guys, I want to ask you a question in the chat. Okay, please, and paste your question in the chat. Okay, and you can even later on mention that. Let me just check the chat now, please. Which plan do you prefer? Among these three ones, which ones? Now I need to choose two among exams. Now, go for 2021. If you have to choose two exams, go for 2021. Okay. Could you please let me know the access to simulator? Please write me on WhatsApp, Amal, if you want to have access to the simulator. Okay. Now, please, guys, over the three plans we have shared with you, which one do you prefer? 1 week preparation plan, 2 week preparation plan, or 3 week preparation plan? Please, which one do you prefer? Please. 3 week. Okay, now we have three answers. Three answers going for 3 week, 3 week. Okay. 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 Now, let me show you something about 3 week preparation plan. And this is really like, this is a real number. 94%. No, wait. 90, no, really, 94%. By the way, that has become 95. Yesterday, that has become 95. 94% of our students got their PMP certification following this plan, which means the success rate of this plan is 94%. Okay, success rate 94%. Success rate for 2 week plan preparation plan is over 80%. Success rate for the first preparation plan of 1 week is 50 to 60%, depending on how much do you remember from your training. So really, so guys, which preparation plan do you prefer? Okay, I see most people said 3 week preparation plan. Now, definitely, what I don't recommend. Definitely, what I don't recommend is going for a 2 month preparation plan or 3 month preparation plan. That's too long. That's really too long. Many people say, no, I need that. I need to understand very well. I'm not well prepared. Hey, 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 hey. I need you to remember one thing. Our course material is based on the 3-in-1 uh, technique. So actually, it contains the technical knowledge, it contains the tips and tricks, and it contains the mock questions. All these are 3-in-1. So really, even just the 35 hours, they are enough. And we've had proofs. And we have posted about those proofs. We've had proofs, of people finishing the training today, taking the exam the next business day. We've had people who have done it. Really, really, like people did it from our classes, from our courses, because they followed word by word what we have shared with them. Okay. Now that's very important. I'm going to share this video, with the other people, who couldn't join this session. Now, before we move on to some questions and answers, because I know you might have some questions, which I would really answer gladly. Okay. Now let's look at the 10 must knows about the exams. Now these are kind of some tips. Probably we've seen some of them, but these are the 10 things you must know about the exam. Really, 10 must knows about the exam. Okay. First, I need you to know that the exam covers questions, topics from many different industries. We can have questions from publics about public projects or projects from public sector, NGOs, private sector, projects in construction, in health, in pharma, in insurance, in IT, in banking, in software, in chemistry, in anything. Okay, 99% of the questions are not technical. 99%. Even this guy who told me yesterday that he had a question about the types of software testing, I think it was really like it's really rare to get such type of questions. I remember in our original PMP training presentation, we've had several slides about technical project management, mainly from software. Like, we went in detail about agile approaches, like the SDM, like XP, also about some technical software practices, like, wireframing, types of software testing, toolboxing, etc. But then we removed them because it was really rare, to see such questions in the PMP exam. So this is your first must know. Okay, so please, why am I mentioning this must know here? That's because many people, who worked like, all of their life in the construction industry, for example, they were surprised that in the PMP exam they got questions about software development projects, for example. They said we did not expect that. That's why I need to repeat this. You should expect questions from, or about any industry, in any sector. That's the first must know. Okay. Second must know is, please expect the exam to cover around 50% agile, 25% hybrid, and 25% waterfall. Now, I am surprised, each time somebody comes to me and says, hey, Ahmed, the exam was 50% agile, 25% hybrid. I didn't expect that. I expected it to be more waterfall. Now, I am surprised. Why did you expect that? I've told you guys so many times in the training. It's almost like, spread like this, between these three types of project management. Almost, almost like more. I can tell you 60%, 70% of our students told us the exam was 50% agile, 25% hybrid, and the rest waterfall. It was almost like this in 60, 75% of the cases. Okay. So why were you surprised that it was more agile than waterfall? Please don't be surprised. Just expect it to be this way. If it was more waterfall, well, almost it cannot be more than agile. But if you've had 30, 40, 50% waterfall, that's okay. But please expect it to be this. Now, when we say 50% agile, we're talking about roles. That's the process domain, the people domain. Sorry, we're talking about practices. Now here we're talking like practices in the sprint. For example, well, that's a process domain, etc. So please expect it to cover 50% agile. Now, agile, that's not only chapter 4 in our training material. It goes beyond that. Okay. The third must know, which is, please be ready to have on average, around 60 long questions. Now, again, this is something, surprising for me. Many people come to me and say, well, we've had really long questions. We didn't expect that. I say, come on, guys. I've told you this many times in the training. It's recorded everywhere on the, with my voice. I told you guys, you can have around 60 long questions. Yes. Not all of the questions are short, or no, and not all of them are easy. Some of the questions are long and they can be even difficult. Okay, so please, you need to be mentally prepared for that. Mental preparation is really important. Okay, be ready for that. All right. So that's on average. Some people get just less than 60 long questions. Some people get a little more. Okay, but don't expect the entire exam to be to have long questions. No, don't expect that. Yes, 60 questions, maybe 50, maybe 70, maybe 30. It's okay. Usually it's 30 to 60 questions. With long text, like really long text, like covering the entire screen. Okay, now that you can expect. Now, the fourth must know about the exam is, you can also have easy questions. And the easy questions are really straightforward. So don't complicate things, don't overthink. Now, if you have a question, for example, about discussing the value of some requirements with a customer, who should do it? Is it the product owner, the scrum master, the development team, or the sponsor? Well, it's easy. It's straightforward. It's the product owner. Don't overthink. Some people, I've had one lady. I can never forget this lady. Okay, she lives in Canada. She didn't pass the first time. Why? Because she was overthinking the situations, overthinking the answers. She was complicating the answers. And, after, she failed her first attempt, she told me, you know what, Ahmed, my problem is I am overthinking. And I was telling myself, oh, this cannot be, it cannot be that easy. It's not possible that, this would be the answer. No, no way. Yeah, way. Absolutely way. Yeah, way. Yes, many questions are straightforward and easy. You know what? PMI doesn't want you to fail. If you think that PMI wants you to fail so they can make you repay, you're wrong. PMI actually wants you to get your certification, in the first shot. Really, like they don't want you to fail. So there is around 60 to 120 questions which are pretty easy and pretty straightforward. Don't complicate things. Don't overthink. please. Okay. The fifth must know bullet, okay, here is once you take the break, you cannot review the previous 60 questions. So forget about them. Don't blame yourself for answering this question wrongly or for remembering, oh my God, or for saying, oh my God, I should have answered this or I should have picked this answer. Not that, not forget about that. Okay, once you take the break, you can never go back to the previous 60 questions. So forget about them. Whether you remember some wrong answers, some correct answers, forget about them. Focus on the next 60 ones. You probably have noticed, guys, or have remarked how many times I'm focusing on the mental preparation. Do you know why? I will tell you the secret right now. I will tell you the secret right now. I've had several students, our PMP students, who really were really well prepared. I mean, they really understood project management really well, but they failed their first attempt. Why? Because they were stressed, and the stress didn't let them think properly. So suddenly they were unable to read the question, the text of the question. They stopped thinking rationally. They forgot all those tips and tricks and elimination techniques, and they failed. Why? Because of the stress. Now, the good news is 99% of them, they passed in the second attempt. Yes, they passed in the second attempt. Why? Because the first attempt was a lesson learned for them. Because in the first attempt, they were able to learn how to manage their stress, and their second attempt was not as stressful, and they passed. 99% of them passed. Really, 99% of them. Okay? But you probably noticed how much I stress on managing your stress. Now, the sixth must know is, and this is a good one, and I will tell you a few things about this one. In case you encounter any technical issues with the OnView software, now OnView, this is the software which PMI uses for the PMP exam. You can request an exam retake, and let me tell you why. It happened many times for people taking the exam at home, and even sometimes for people taking the exam in a test center. It happened that the OnView software, this is the software for the PMP exam, froze and broke. So now let me talk about the case of taking the exam in a test center. Okay, one of those Pearson View test centers. Now I've had some of our students took the exam in a test center wherever in the world, like it can be in any country in the world, and then suddenly the OnView froze. Now, if the OnView software freezes for more than 5 to 10 minutes, then it is your right to tell them, okay, I lost concentration. I cannot focus anymore. Now I am stressed. I don't feel good to continue the exam. It is your right to say that. And then you're entitled for an exam retake free of charge without losing any attempts. So you will always keep your 3 attempts, and you will not pay for exam retake. It happened last week. Last week, actually, one of our students, I think he lives either in the Netherlands or in France. Let me just check his WhatsApp number. Give me a second. So let me just check, quickly his WhatsApp number. Yeah, this one. I think France. No, no, not France. Emirates. Emirates. He was in France, then he moved to Emirates. Now he lives in the Emirates. He went to a test center to take the PMP exam. Then, after the first 60 questions, when he started the second 60 questions, suddenly the OnView software froze and it stopped working. Of course, the proctors and the test center were there, and they tried, and he told me they tried for more than half an hour. Between half an hour and 1 hour, they were trying to solve the technical issue. And this guy, my student, he was sitting and waiting, and he lost concentration for sure. Then after 1 hour almost, the software worked again, and then he continued the exam and he failed. He didn't tell me. He didn't tell me this. So when he left from the exam, he didn't even tell me that he failed. So I checked on him 2, 3 days later, or maybe 2 days later. I checked on him, and he told me he failed. And he explained to me what happened. I told him, "Oh my God, why didn't you call me? You could have called me while you were still in the exam. You could have called me, and I would have told you to immediately tell them that you cannot continue the exam because you have lost concentration. You're stressed. You don't feel good, and you're not in a good format or shape to continue the exam. You could have said that. It is your right." He told me, "Well, I didn't think about it. It didn't come on my mind." I said, "You should have. And even if you continued the exam and you failed, before leaving the test center, you should have asked them for a proof or a document that OnView software broke, so we can use that as an argument with PMI to tell them that actually you've had troubles, during your exam, and you're asking for a free retake. Because with that proof, anyway, they have the log. So what you could ask for is a log. Ask them for the log, of the OnView software, because the log, it says exactly how much time was spent on the questions, how much time was off because of an exam of the software break, etc. Okay, so you could have asked for the log and use that to ask PMI for a free retake without losing your first attempt. All right, you should have done that. We have helped people with even more complicated situations. Like 3 weeks ago, now I will tell you this. It's a secret, but I will tell you this. So 3 weeks ago, one of our students was supposed to take her exam. Now let's suppose she was, let's say, because I forgot the dates, but let's suppose she was, let's say she was supposed to take the exam on 1st of April. Okay, this lady actually was so sick, and was so stressed, and because of her sickness with the stress, she couldn't go for the exam, so she missed it. And she thought that okay, she lost the money, she lost the attempt, and luck. And then by coincidence, by really absolute coincidence, I called her that day. I forgot it was her exam day, but I called her. And she told me, "Oh, Mr. Ahmed, sorry, I couldn't go. I was so tired, so stressed." I said, "Oh my God, why didn't you tell me? We can figure out things, we can find a way how to do things." I thought, okay, do you have a medical certificate from the doctor? She said, "Yeah, you know what? I have this doctor. I know, it's my doctor, and he knows that I'm sick, and I just called him for some medicaments." So I told him, "So he knows you're sick?" She said, "Yes." "Did you visit him?" She said, "Not really. It was over the phone." When was the phone call with him? She said, "Yesterday." I told her, "Okay, you go right now to your doctor." That was the day of no, the next day it was one day after her exam date. You go to the doctor. Yeah, you ask him to give you a medical certificate of that phone call you had with him, in which he describes that you were really sick. Get that certificate in English or at least in French, and then go talk to PMI. Tell them you were sick. Your doctor is aware. Here's a certificate from the doctor, and then ask for PMI, to allow you to retake the exam free of charge without losing the attempt. She did that, and she was successful. Yes, because PMI, they're humans. They really care. They really can help you. PMI is there to support people to succeed in their projects. Okay, so yes, they offered that to her, and she wrote me a few days later, happily, okay, that she managed to get a free retake from PMI. Absolutely, guys. So please, whenever you have an issue, just call me. I can advise you what to do. Okay. Now, the seven must know is, and this is a trick one. You must remember that the people who prepare the questions for you, the PAP exam, they know how much time is necessary to answer each question. Okay, and they know very well that actually 3 hours and 50 minutes are quite sufficient to finish the exam. But what makes time insufficient is the stress. So that's why in the previous bullets, I have stressed a lot on managing your own stress so you don't end up feeling and thinking that the time was not enough. Actually, time is more than enough, okay? It's just the stress which made the time not enough. So please remember this seventh must know. The eighth must know is quite important, which is the visualization of the process map, which is a key to success. Now, the process map, that's that can be the process table, in the P box 6 in page 62, or it can be your own process map, your own process group table, or any map in which you draw all the processes in waterfall, in agile, in hybrid, etc. And visualizing that process map will help you answer half of the exam correctly, because 50% of the PMP exam is process domain. So bullet number 8 will help you answer half of the exam correctly. Remember, you need to get just 65%. So you need to score, or you need to answer correctly 120 questions out of 180 questions. Okay, so visualization is key to success. Visualization of the process map. So please try to remember this bullet number 8. Now, the ninth must know about the exam is, I like that. I like this one. Think as a businessman and answer as a project manager. Now, what does think as a businessman and answer as a project manager mean? It means whenever or whatever question you're answering in the PMP exam, think of that project as if it is yours. So you're a businessman or a businesswoman. You have this project, you care for it, you're spending money from your own pocket. It's really quite important, to make benefits, to create and deliver value, and answer as a project manager, because the project manager knows the processes, the tools, the techniques, all the steps, the has got the acumens, has got the talents, etc. So think as a businessman as if this is your own business, this is your own project. You definitely want to make it successful, this project, and then answer with the mindset of the project manager according to what you have learned from PMI. Now, this is the ninth must know. It will help you a lot, because many people try to answer the questions in the PMP exam just as theoretical project managers. You don't want to be theoretical project managers. What does theoretical project manager mean? It means somebody who just learn the processes and that's it. No. PMI wants to take you out of that box. Okay. You don't want to be in the shape of a theoretical project manager. So think as a businessman, someone who cares a lot for making money, creating and delivering value, and then answer as a project manager. And the last must know is no question is worth taking more than 1 minute and 17 seconds to answer. Okay, so in case you have a long question. Now, sometimes people lose time, they waste time, so they have these long questions. They spend 3 to 4 minutes on each question. Some people, with the stress, they fail to answer the question, from reading it. Or actually they fail to understand the question in the first reading, so they read again. So here we're talking about 5 to 6 minutes being lost. No, if one question is going to take more than 1 minute and 70 seconds, either you just answer quickly based on elimination techniques, or flag it or mark it, and then you can go back to it. But no question deserves, or actually, yeah, exactly, deserves more than 1 minute and 17 seconds to answer. Once, or in case you have time left before the break or before ending the exam, then you can go back to those questions. Otherwise, just pick any answer based on the elimination techniques and move on. Don't spend more than 1 minute and 17 seconds on any questions, because it's not worth it, really. But don't leave any unanswered questions. Make sure you answer all of the questions, because you always have 25% chance of getting the answer right. But if you apply the elimination techniques, that chance can go up to 50%. Okay? That's without reading the text. All right? So for those who have just joined us, we have gone in this session through three preparation plans. So we've had this 1 week preparation plan, so we already saw it. You can watch the recording once we share it tomorrow. Then we had this 2 week preparation plan. If in case you have missed it, you can watch the recording, which we will share tomorrow. And then also we went through this very effective 3 week preparation plan. And it really depends. Picking the right plan for you depends on how much time you have. We definitely recommend the 3 week preparation plan, definitely, because and you don't need more than 3 weeks. I am against taking more than 3 weeks. Really, absolutely don't take more than 3 weeks. I always push, or not push. Sorry, I always encourage people to follow this 3 week preparation plan with 3 hours on average every day, and you will make it. Just 3 weeks of sacrificing 3 hours a day, maybe a little more on the weekends, and you will make it. You will get your certification. Okay. So the success rate of this 3 week preparation plan is 94% so far with our students. The success rate of this 2 week preparation plan with our students is around 80%, a little more. And the success rate of this 1 week preparation plan, it was 50 to 60%, depending on how much you remember from the training. Okay. Now, I will put this in a separate video, in a video. Okay. Uh, all right, let me just put this in a separate recording. Now, let me allow the